first board I got off Victana.
Oh,
But what I used to do is used to go in the surf club when I was a kid, knock off the longboards, the 16-footers, and go paddling around out there.
out the front of the surf club.
Mm.
Yeah. And then what? One of the old guys gave you a board.
No, I got my mate from Victana,
Okay.
and then I left school when I was 15 and I went and worked because we needed the money to survive. Started making surfboards with a bloke called John Saffron
Okay.
at Townsend Road, Whittington. Because somebody said, "Oh, Ray surfs, he might like to
How did you get to Whittington every day?
ride my bike." I used to leave it at Fags and ride my bike out there and then hitchhike back.
Wow. So you catch the bus into Fags?
No, Mum used to drop me up the top of the road and I'd hitchhike into Fags and then ride my bike from there out to Whittington.
Ah.
And what did you do
And then
that
he
for?
was surfing Ocean Grove one day and just dropped out of a heart attack in the water, and then John Sims was his name, it was Ballerine Marine was the name of it, and he bought all the equipment off it, and me and another guy continued to make surfboards there in Ballerine Street. And then after that, you're not far away from where I bought Ida's.
Ray, how did you feel when the Rip Curl and Quicksilver thing started? You know, you must have been watching with interest.
Yeah, well, see, Freddie Pyke that's the connection there, because me and Peter Ashley started making surfboards there with Freddie Pyke, and then Rip Curl started up, and I think at one stage there was Claw and Singing, and they were looking for somebody to put money, because I'd been just about to go travelling overseas with Vicky, I think. And so I had money in my pocket, so I was about that far away from going,
I'll give you some money.
do we go overseas, Vicky, or do I just go in there and see Claw and them and say, look, you know, what about, I'll throw in some money and we'll see how we go, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Ray, tell me about the Point Danger danglers.
It's Point Danger Border Road. That's another thing where Claw brought it up too, is the fact we were talking about surfing and starting off the Bells Beach Board Riders Club. And Claw jumped up and said, "Oh, hang on a minute, Ray and Leighton Warland and a couple of other
Barry
blokes,
Stark.
Starkey,
Frenchie.
started off the Point Danger Board Riders Club, or Danger Danglers, whatever you want to call it, way before the Bells Beach Board Riders Club
Yep.
started.
So the
up.
Torquay board riders had started, and the danglers were like a...
Oh no, we were before that.
You're
The
before-
danglers were first.
The danglers were first.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
with the-
We had a stencil, cut out a cardboard, and we put it on our whatever. Oh, when you think about it, it's really.
And then you entered competitions as the Point Danger board riders.
That's right. And now it's big deal.
Yeah.
Now you've got Point Lonsdale, and you've got
Yeah,
very few people went from here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Such a long way.
yeah,
It was. You're talking about a couple of hours.
yeah. So were the danglers, was that a breakaway group from the surf club?
Yeah.
So tell me
Yeah.
about how that happened. You got sick of the surf club, or?
We were in the surf club, and then they started to give us a hard time all the time because we were just a little gremlins around the place, and we just went, oh, okay. So we left the surf club system as it was known and started up that as an alternative to, well, not a surf club like Joe Sweeney started up the Jan Juck
Yep.
thing, and that was a similar deal.
But the danglers was different. They were
Danglers
board riders.
totally surfing.
They were board riders, yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
surfing. But originated from
The surf club.
surf club.
He used to do the reels and
Yeah.
do the whole with
Yeah.
a little hat.
Oh, I remember that was funny too, because we were doing, you run down the beach and you go out around the buoy and then you go back to the other buoy and you come back, and we were standing there to do this swim out round the thing race, and I'm standing there and the guy, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, he looked at me and said, "Oh, you skinny little prick." All right. So I went off scratch first with the rest of the things, and I just went because I had long arms and long legs, and I
Yeah.
swam like a fish. And I won that by about 100 yards. Geelong, I think, didn't it? and came along. That was an old Cobb and Co road, and that was one of the early parts. There's probably still sections of it still there.
Yeah.
That's how we got around to Bells with Peter Troy, and because I went around with him in his mainline Ford. He picked me up in Torquay and we went around and surfed Bells when I was just starting surfing. And we looked at the break one day because it happened to be low tide and only about 3 or 4 foot. And we looked across and there was Winky Pop just peeling off, and we paddled around the corner point and surfed that there at Winky Pop, and like nobody surfed Winky Pop.
Tell us a bit about Peter Troy. How do you remember him?
Peter Troy's parents had the newsagent in Torquay, and he used to come round and pick me up when they had the paper shop there, and we'd go around the Bells in his Ford mainline ute. And then we used to go around, and we all got cars, and that's how. But I went with him.
So did you listen to Yatey and Peter Hughes and those crew?
In the beer garden.
Yep.
Yatey and his big fat brass.
Yeah.
And then they moved down to play music down at the, not the Lord Nelson,
Was it Lord of the Isles, I mean.
one of those pubs in there, and they played there. But Owen Yaton was the first person to actually take me out into the ocean. I was down the beach one day and he was getting ready to go out fishing to pick up his clay pots, I think. And he said, "Oh, do you want to come out in the boat with me?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, okay." So he was the first person basically to take me out into the open ocean, pick up his clay pots and do all that. And I always treated Yatey and Vic Tanner and those those blokes in the surf club as my surrogate fathers, because my father pissed off when I was relatively young. And then growing up in the surf club, those blokes were my surrogate fathers. And I had the choice of either getting a job as an apprentice or golfer.
Oh, really? Did you?
Or take up surfing and go surfing. And Mum took me to the surf contests at Coolangatta and places. I'd say there's a surf contest on at Coolangatta, I think was one of the early ones. And she'd go, "Oh, go and get the roof rack out of the garage and put it on the car." And I didn't even have a drive, I was too young to drive. That was when Manly world titles were on and all that.
So were these surf life-saving or surfing contests? Surfing contests, yeah.
Yeah.
What about when the world titles came in 1970? Were you around then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, because I was the state rep at the time.
Yeah. Oh. Well,
So I got seeded into the quarterfinals of the world titles. So I surfed against people like Midget Farrelly and Nat Young.
How'd you go?
I got in quarterfinals. Yeah, and we had the Americans came out, Mike Doyle.
The Peruvians.
And the Peruvians and the Brazilians. And
Yeah. That's all.
it was basically the first serious world title contest in the world.
God, did you continue to play golf once you took up surfing, or was it had to be one thing or the other?
No, and then I started working with Fred Pyke, making surfboards, and Fred was wanted to take up playing golf. So I used to go and play golf a lot with Fred. That's when there was a bit of gap. But
Were you guys, it was you, Peter Ashley and Fred at Fred's?
yeah.
So were you sort of in competition with the crew down the road?
Yep.
With Rip Curl?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did that go? You would have had your own.
Well, there was plenty of space.
Yeah.
You know, it was a growth sport.
Yeah. And you know,
But
Long
in those
John,
days,
Donny. There was
room for everybody.
There were lots of people in comparison.
If you wanted to surf by yourself, you went over to the top of the hill and went down onto the Jan Juck side, and there was
No.
4 or 5 beach breaks along there where I could go and surf with nobody, which was good. Except I went down there one day and looked along the beach, and there's a big black thing lying on the beach, and I walked up. As soon as I got about 50, 60 yards away, I realised it was a big hammerhead shark that had died somehow, and it would have been 10 foot long.
And you'd never thought of sharks out there?
Not really, until I saw this, and I went, oh, okay. So I walked back to Torquay and went back and surfed in front of the surf club.
What did you wear out on the surf in winter when you went surfing before wetsuits were around? What did you wear to keep
Not
warm?
much, because you just surfed until you froze to death.
So you just still went out in
Yeah.
your shorts and not with a jumper or a...
No, not really, because it didn't
Something.
make any much difference. All it did was keep a bit of the wind. It was okay when it was not windy. When it was windy, it was the chill factor. Then the Americans invented the CB, I think they were, the early wetsuits. Came from California. Even then they were short arm and short legs. I can remember coming out of the water at Point Danger once. I've been surfing for about an hour and a half. Came out of the water and found it quite difficult to turn the key
Open the car.
to get in. But nobody really locked their cars.
No.
I can remember in the early stage when there was surfing in Victoria. I think it was first early Bells contest. I can remember 3 Queenslanders coming down, and it was quite cold. And they came down to Victoria and went in the water, had a surf, nearly froze to death, got in their car and basically drove straight back to Queensland because they couldn't cope with the cold.